Hello, hi! Time for some more review bombing, review crushing, review destroying. Whatever. A healthy dose of shitting on internet people with differentiating opinion to mine is just what I needed right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Of course, we're gonna start this off with a classic random number generator pick. 97. Konosuba Season 1, eh? I'll have some fun with this one. So in case you didn't know, I am a huge Konosuba fan. Like, I've rated both the seasons at 10 out of 10 and also the movie. So destroying the hopes of dreams of whoever dares to talk smack about my show will be very fun.
Absolutely terrible. I thought this show had some degree of promise in both character design, development, and comedy. It falls flat abruptly in all departments. There is not one constitution that this anime does well in besides the average art design.
Okay, buddy. I don't know what kind of holy land you live in where this is fucking average. Like, this art is so fucking sexy. I ain't got a clue what you're on about.
Story. Rubbish. Fight Demon King. Does the cliche I choose you option. Picking out the fuck. Story. Let me tell you. Rubbish. Fight Demon King. Does the cliche I choose you option. Picking out deity. Presenting the weapons. Do you say deity?
Deity.
Oh, okay. Story. Rubbish. Fight Demon King. Does the cliche I choose you option. Pick up the deity. Presenting the weapons. Who could have seen that coming? Clearly not the goddess, as she was obliged to conform to his request, whilst in a state of shock.
First of all, I've never seen the I choose you option in any other show. Granted, I'm not the biggest isekai fan out there, but I think if this was something that cliche, I would have seen it at least memed by now. But I digress, since even if that is somehow a cliche, that's the point of Konosuba. It's supposed to be an isekai that makes fun of isekais, so being cliche is part of the job description, honey. I think that much was pretty clear.
The adventure begins. The primary focus is the comedy, which, like all comedy, is a hit and miss, but a slightly objective standpoint. The comedy is recycled and often used juvenile sexual innuendos as the focal point. Their journey is just doing odd tasks in the most The primary focus is the comedy, which, like all comedy, is a hit and miss, but at slightly objective standpoint. The comedy is recycled and often uses... I used the wrong lyrics. Wrong... I suck at this.
The word, just keep going.
The adventure begins. The primary focus is the comedy, which at all comedy is a hit and miss, but at slightly objective standpoint. The comedy is recycled and often uses juvenile sexual innuendos as a focal point.
This is where the problems occur in rating a comedy show. Comedy is a very subjective thing, so for the most part, you can't really say a form of comedy is wrong or right. Although I will forever say that random does not equal funny, and you're stupid if you think it is. Monkey sex. Anyway, sexual innuendos is not even close to the focal point of this show's comedy. I'll admit that a lot of the jokes are recycled, but that's part of what makes it funny to me. It feels like the writers were sitting in the room just like, okay boys, we need a joke to insert here. What's the play? How about we call Aqua useless again? You fucking genius! That's how I imagine Konosuba writing those, which is fucking hilarious to me. The fact that the joke is predictable and overused is the funny part, man. But that's just my opinion. Let's go back to the more objective part. Sexual jokes are not the main focus of the comedy whatsoever. They drop a lot of sexual jokes for sure, but it's not the focus. You just can ask any Konosuba fan and they'll probably back me up on this. The sexual jokes aren't what makes Konosuba funny. It's the characters, especially Kazuma. He's such a great character.
Their journey is just doing odd tasks in the most desperately goofy way possible. It mostly feels episodic and not much anything happens most of the time, as they are busy making their recycled jokes on rewind. Again, this is nothing but comedy. Recycled comedy revolving around juvenile sexual humor. Don't expect engrossing combat mechanics, character development, or any insight into the characters. They are goofy to be, well, goofy.
I'm worried about this person now. How can you watch Konosuba and come out with the impression of, this show had too many sexual jokes? I think you were focusing on the wrong things, man. Yes, I agree that you shouldn't go in expecting any engrossing combat mechanics or whatever, but I think you can expect character development. That is, if you decide to watch past season 1. I don't know what this guy expects this show to do in 10 episodes. Yes, there's no character development in season 1 because, well, it's fucking season 1. It's 10 episodes long and focuses on introducing the characters and the world so that you can get a good grip of everything before actually getting deeper into it. Konosuba has 4 main characters, and they're all introduced at different times, so this show couldn't have had any character development in this season, since it would just end up feeling like you know so much about this one character, meanwhile you have absolutely no clue what the other characters do. It's basic story building, my guy.
If you don't get exhausted watching cheap, juvenile fights where the characters employ crappy, futile strategies over and over again, doing the same thing, just to be funny, then this is for you. Doesn't attack, doesn't work. Gets eaten, gets saved. Does it again. Funny. As for mechanic themselves, it's just bright colors with properties not defined. There is never really any threat of anything seriously happening.
It's not a serious show. I don't know what you expect to happen. I would feel so weird if out of nowhere they just came up with some, Cosmo, if you can't beat me in under 10 seconds, I'll murder everyone you care about. This is a comedy, as you stressed so many times. Don't expect it to take anything, even itself, seriously. Now, there's not many fights in the show, so I don't know why you're whining like it's something that happens a lot. I can remember like 2 fights from season 1. Stop crying. If it makes you feel better, the fights get more intense with more stake and more time put into actually making the fights interesting and intense. In later seasons, that is. This season, you're just introducing shit. Don't expect a life-changing battle to happen.
Character. The worst attribute. The already lacking story substance is further diluted by the terrible characters.
Shut the fuck up. Enough said.
The characters are all mentally destitute to the point where they sound like broken Muppets on rewind. Their jokes became painfully predictable and bland very quickly. There is no way you can get invested in any of the characters due to the well-resolute character design with no development.
Hold on, I gotta Google what well-resolute means. Bro, you sure used that right? Sure, the characters reuse a lot of jokes, but don't act as if that's the only thing that they do. They have a lot, and by that I mean a lot of original jokes. I would say about 90% of their jokes are original, while the other 10% are repeats that are fucking hilarious. Being painfully predictable is the point. This show wants you to feel like Cosmo, so Aqua being annoying time and time again is annoying and painful to watch, but it's also fucking hilarious. Fuck, man, describing why something is funny is hard. My point is, fuck you, it's hilarious.
As mentioned earlier, they are made so desperately goofy and repetitive that you often don't need to listen what they say, as 90% of it is a comedic premise you have more or less heard explicitly earlier on the same episode, and the one before that. Yes, the author likes repeating jokes, despite this being a 10-episode anime. You have the character Darkness, whom is a crusader that loves to get turned on and twist almost any comment into some desperate sexual reference on rewind. She misses all strikes and just stands there as a shield and her clothes is ripped off. That's the gimmick.
I'm sick and tired of you calling this show desperate. There ain't a single thing desperate about Konosuba. You can tell that this was made by someone who set out to make a show that's funny for dumb. And if they get bonus laughs from other people, that's a plus. I can tell because that's what I do with these damn videos even. I make a funny haha that I personally would find funny in a video. And then if other people find it funny, that's just a bonus. There ain't a thing less desperate than that mindset. That's the mindset of someone who completely couldn't care less what other people think. How is that desperate? Now, all I'll add here is the fact that her clothes ripping apart to create fan service is a beautiful parody of the current anime mainstream in and of itself. Everyone makes the same joke that goes, anime when I'm watching alone versus anime when my parents walking. You can put basically any fucking show in this format and it still works. Almost every single anime has fan service one way or another, but it is especially apparent in the modern day basic harem isekais that have 1 million different clones of each other, man. Darkness entire exists and makes fun of this by being the polar opposite of all those basic ass anime girls. There's so many scenes where a girl gets her clothes ripped off so she gets slammed by a frog or anything that puts her in a sexual looking position. And they always have to reply what the same over is. Yeah. That's how I feel about that shit, and Darkness flips that entire concept on its head by instead screaming in horror or disgust. She's fucking into it. Majorly so, actually.
Then there's the character Megumi, whom only uses explosion magic, which renders her immobile after one use. Despite all logic, cause it's funny.
Despite which logic? There's no fucking preset rules to magic since it doesn't exist. If the show wants it to be possible to be rendered immobile after a spell, then it fucking can. Magic has no rules, so the show itself sets those rules, and if this is one of the rules, then that's just how it is, man. Accept it. The fuck?
The goddess Aqua, whom the main character tricked you into joining him. Again, the cliche, I choose you. How could you have seen this coming scenario? Uses water party tricks and some bright rays of light that works well against undead. Not that it's used profoundly, it just shoot and either falls flat for comedy or it's ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, I got nothing to say here. Yeah.
As for the main character, he acts as a medium to a small voice of reason amidst the nonsense, which was a nice touch, but most of the time he was just whining about the antics while going through it, or only adding to it. He is a teenage virgin surrounded by 3 attractive females as a gimmick, and goes through the cliche of rejection of any advances lacking of reciprocation of any advances despite strong offerings, all the while being a virgin and having perversions whom acts out his bickering and whatnot with the characters. Not cliche at all. Written this way does not complicate the stupid theme anime with any relationships.
It's supposed to be cliche. That's the fucking point. How many times do I have to stress this? This show is made to parody isekai. How do you parody shit? By copying it and pointing out why it's stupid, or by flipping the concept on its head, and Konosuba does both of them, and very well at that. The fact that the characters have a clear gimmick that they stick by is making fun of anime and their different sort of deres that you'll find in every show out there. The tsundere always has to be mean, the dere always happy. You get the idea. They have a gimmick and they stick by it. Just like Konosuba, except Konosuba has more unique gimmicks instead that flip the formula. Such a fucking genius show, man.
Art average.
That's just not true.
Sound bad, forgettable.
I don't get what was bad about it. Most sound design is forgettable. That doesn't make it bad, I don't think.
Enjoyment non-existent, 0 out of 10.
Oh man, you must be fun at parties.
Don't watch this.
Let me just... Yeah, it's better. Alright, I'm done here. I've done well enough, I think. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Mal Review Destruction. Maybe I should fucking change that name. It's kind of stupid. Maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. Let me know if I should change it. And if I should change it, please give me a suggestion, because I'm running out of ideas for everything at this point. Alright, I'm done here. I'll see y'all next time, right? Alright, great. Bye!